So I built another fixed track for you to experiment with. This one is more dedicated for techno or even improvised techno. I try to keep this as compact as possible. And let's really start going through the sections here and actually create sounds while we go through everything. So we have here the clock section. This will drive the whole patch. You can see I use the Bay modules to send this clock everywhere around the patch, so you don't have cables everywhere going, right? And we have different drum voices. We have here a kick, we have here a clap and a hi-hat. Each of them is with a dedicated sequencer. So let me already start the clock. A dedicated sequencer and also a mouse recorder, the MC1 from DocP. I will show you exactly how it goes. So let's start with a kick drum. So I can create a sequence here. Let's start maybe like this. Right, and of course we have the kick. The kick here is from 4MS, right? The kick module. You can change the sound. Let's go with something like this, maybe with low saturation. Right, maybe less decay. And now I have here the MC1 again that I can use to record the movement of the mouse and really create a bit of movement. The CV, you can choose where it will go. I will send this, let's say, to the saturation now, right? And just start recording things. Right? And then you can choose, you can see on the Bay output, on the clock output here, we have different values. So we have 16th notes, 8th notes, quarter notes, and then we have 1 bar, 2 bars, or 4 bars. So for example, you can choose how often this will be triggered. I will choose, let's say, 1 bar. So every 1 bar, this will trigger this modulation. Right, and already we have movement. So really for improvised sorts of rhythms and modulation, and of course you can change things on the fly. It's really hands-on or mouse-on. Let's go with the clap, right? Also here we have a dedicated sequencer. Right, maybe something like this. Right, maybe a bit shorter. Right, and also here I have the recorder, so I can record, for example, something for the verb volume. Right, and again, also here I will use, let's say, 1 bar. And this doesn't fit, so let's record something new. Right? So again, there's modulation, and this is really fun with the hi-hat also. So I don't really like the hi-hat module from 4MS. The clap is also 4MS, by the way. I really like plats. So I have here plats in a hi-hat mode, analog hi-hat. Right, so I will just create a sequence here, maybe. Right, something like this, maybe here also. Right, something like this. Of course we can. Change the sound. Right? And now with the recorder I can record maybe the decay. The morph here is the is the decay of the hi-hat. Right, in this case, let's go with 2 bars. Every 2 bars it will replay this. Right? So we have some movement. There is also a dedicated mixer for the drums. You can see kick, clap, closed hat, open hat, which is incorrect. I should delete this. I had an open hat before. Let me just delete this here. Right, so we have closed hat, or hats, clap, and the kick. Right, so you can have a dedicated mix for the drums. Right, and then we have here the bassline. Now I really like for the bass, I like using keycall and sending it through chorus. I have it here with the electric ensemble from Flag. And for the bass, I thought about doing something really a bit more, even more improvised and more random. And using the random loops here from Sidechaining, which is basically 8 touring machines. Let me just mute the drums for a second. There's also a main mixer. You can see drums is channel 1, and you have solo and mute. So I can just mute this. Right, so we have basically 8 touring machines that we can use. One of them will control pitch and also will trigger. Now I have the trigger disconnected just so it's not playing all the time. You can leave it connected. There is nothing here is quantized. This is really improvised, weird techno stuff. Right, and again, this is touring machines. With the control, we can also lock the sequence. So let's say I would like a sequence of 7 steps. Lock it. Right, and then I can have also modulation. We have more channels here. So for example, I can modulate the decay. Right? Again, lock it maybe on 16 steps, and we have also range controls. Right, and maybe not 7 steps, let's go with 10 steps. Right, and then I can also modulate here the shape. And again, we can lock it, let's lock it with 5 steps, let's say. Right? So we have our bass. And again, we can change the levels here. If you hit F4, it will just zoom out to the whole patch, so you can have an overview of the whole patch. So I can just take, for example, the bass a bit down here. And actually, there's another element that I added here, which is ducking or sidechaining. I call it follower because I'm using an envelope follower. This is here. This will follow the amplitude of the kick drum because I like using the saturation as a modulation source, which means the amplitude of the kick drum will change. So it makes sense to use an envelope follower for ducking to get all the different nuances of the amplitude. Right, so you have here the output from the follower section, and this will be a ducking envelope, so I can duck the bass. Right, if I solo the bass, right, and I solo or not solo, but let me bring it back the drums. Right, so now the bass is ducked by the kick drum, which is also quite fun. Also, another thing I added here are labels. You can see the first one is bass, the second one you can just write what it is. So for example, I will write here, if you right click it, right, you can have here, let's say, decay, right, because this will be decay modulation, this will be shape. Right, so I will change this to shape. Right, so you can know exactly what it is, what everything controls here. Then another voice I have here is the ensemble oscillator for some chords, and this is going through the envelope generator VCA from Surge XT, so you can also gate it. Right, so I can use another channel here from the random loops. I will call this Chord. Right, and then we can change the chords. Maybe I will just solo for a second the bass and the chords. Right, and there is crashing, folding. And again, this is not quantized or anything. I can add also some delay. I have this going to a sync delay if you want. And there is even a send reverb, right, on the mixer, so I can also send the chords a bit, and also sidechain them, Control Shift to take another cable. Right, and I can create a rhythm here just by locking the sequence. And add some modulation. For example, let's try the pitch here and maybe take the rate down. Maybe a bit less reverb. Right, again F4. You can zoom out. Right, and another voice that I have here is noise plethora, because noise is always fun. And I have here another channel here empty that you can use for whatever you want, but I thought for noise plethora this can be quite nice. So let's have noise here. Right, and of course also here we have the Turing machines that we can use for modulation. Right. And also here we can lock things. Nice actually. Right, and also modulate the filter with another output here. Again, lock it. Right, and again F4, and then you can start improvising things and change the rhythms. Right, make this 4 on the floor. Just for fun. And again, nothing is quantized. Of course, you can also quantize things if you want. Let's add another noise here as a stereo sound. Right, again with some modulation. With the reverb. Right, it's just for fun, I don't know, just a fun little techno machine. Nice, just to create all sorts of weird results. Right, and that was it. I hope you will download this patch. Sorry, I'm gonna not mute this maybe, just a bit, tiny bit. I hope you will download this patch and I hope you will experiment with it. You can change it, tweak it, or just use it just for inspiration, just for fun. But that was it for today. Thank you for watching. Cheers.